Hello, welcome, and thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Romancing. Recent developments on the case against DPNR's Enforcement Chief Roberto Tapia and other defendants, new charges filed by the U.S. Attorney's Office, and the arrest of a fifth defendant involved in the drug trafficking and conspiracy case. April Knight has been following the story and has details. April?
Yes, Sandy, the drug trafficking and conspiracy case involving DPNR Enforcement Chief Roberto Tapia widens. On July 11th, the U.S. Attorney filed a superseding indictment, adding new charges and identifying a fifth defendant in the case. Raymond Brown was arrested on Wednesday and charged with 2 counts each of conspiracy with intent to distribute cocaine, possession with intent to distribute cocaine, and federal use of a communication facility to facilitate drug crime. Brown was identified in the charges as cocaine supplier and distributor.
We evaluated the evidence in the case and decided to include him and others in the RICO charges. In other words, he's just another co-conspirator. And the major difference, though, aside from the number of defendants, is that we're charging a RICO, and that's a racketeer influence in corrupt organizations. It's a tool that's used to provide for criminal penalties for persons who engage in a so-called pattern of racketeering activity.
The case against Tapia and the other defendants began in May of this year. Tapia was on his way back from St. John on May 17th when he was arrested by federal agents. He was carrying his DPNR-issued sidearm and 7 kilograms of cocaine. Stephen Torres, Eddie Lopez, and a little later VI Police Sergeant Angelo Hill were also arrested for being co-conspirators. The superseding indictment in this case results in new appearances before the court, starting with an arraignment hearing. Tomorrow, defendants included in the charges in the superseding indictment are scheduled to be arraigned. A trial date will be decided upon eventually. Although it is thought to be a high-profile case, the U.S. Attorney's Office says that it will proceed like any other case in federal court. Sandy?
Thanks for that, April. News 2 continues to follow developments on this case. We will keep you updated. Well, many Virgin Islanders mourn today upon hearing news that Emil Griffith, Hall of Fame boxing legend and Virgin Islands native, passed away. Emil Griffith was 75. Griffith was the first Virgin Islander to win a world championship in boxing. He was inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame in 1990. Griffith was known for his 3 fights with Benny the Kid Paret, one of which ended with Paret leaving the ring in a stretcher and eventually caused his death. Griffith ended his boxing career in 1977. The ballpark in downtown St. Thomas was named in his honor. He passed away today at an extended care facility in New York after years of poor health. Many also remember his skill as an artist and for advancing civil rights issues with his courage in life. And tune in, we will have more on Wednesday's newscast. On St. Croix, the Criminal Investigation Bureau detectives are investigating the non-fatal shooting of a male victim that occurred about 11:15 p.m. in Estate Glen. The victim told police that on July 22nd, a masked man came out of his vehicle and shot him in his right thigh and foot while leaving a grocery store in the area. The victim also said he could not describe anything about the shooter, his weapon, or his vehicle. Police are still following up on this case. Meanwhile, in St. Croix, police are also investigating a robbery and assault on 2 minors. According to the victims, they were near the ferry dock in Christiansted on July 22nd, about 11:30 p.m., when they were robbed by 3 men, possibly assisted by a woman. The female suspect was dark complexion, about 5'3", wearing a multicolored blouse and jean shorts. 2 of the male suspects were light complexion, one of whom had money symbols tattooed on his left hand. The 3rd male suspect had dark complexion with medium-length locks. If you have any information, you can call 911 or Crime Stoppers. 26-year-old Eliza Ritter had been arrested and charged with first-degree murder in connection with the shooting death of 31-year-old Sheldon Phillip. Police say Ritter was arrested based on a warrant issued from the Superior Court of the Virgin Islands at 3:20 p.m. on July 20th. Ritter attended his advice rights on July 22nd. He was remanded back to the Golden Grove Adult Correctional Facility pending further court action. On July 7th, Phillip was shot while he was in the driver's seat of his vehicle on July 7th outside of a private party in Estate Butler's Bay. The VI Police Department will be conducting tint clinics this week where they can check if your tint is within legal limits. The Tint Clinic closed at 7 p.m. today, but tomorrow, Wednesday, it will be open from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Four Winds Plaza. On Thursday, also from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the National Park in Red Hook. This goes on Friday at the Reichel Center for the Arts, and that's near Brewers Bay, from noon to 7 p.m. And finally on Saturday at Tutu Park Mall from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. On Monday, the Senate Committee of the Whole tackled the question of the proposed agreement with Hovenza, laying out terms for a potential sale of the refinery. News2's Shaniqua Robinson has more.
The Senate Committee of the Whole held a hearing on St. Croix in order to gather testimony and public comments on a proposed agreement between the Virgin Islands government and Hovenza. The agreement, known as the Fourth Amendment to concession, will lower the company's yearly payment in lieu of property tax from $14 million to $7 million. In exchange, the Virgin Islands government would receive 20% of the sales price, or $50 million, whichever is less.
How do you get to some kind of value of this $14 million? And it's still, of course, again, college, if we're not on the same page, there needs to be a proper assessment done, period.
Despite a deadline of August 15th, some senators said they are not going to be forced into voting about whether to ratify the proposed Fourth Amendment agreement.
I totally agree with my colleague that if it's taken you 18 months in order to work something out, this body cannot be expected to ratify something without that all-important word, due diligence. We can expedite it, understanding it's important, but we're not going to be sloppy on something of this magnitude just because we're told that we have to rush.
A number of senators pressed for more information about what they termed Hovenza's breach of current agreement when it decided to shutter the refinery and raised questions about why the government was negotiating with the company at all.
We continue to talk about the cost of this property. Understand that the reason why Hovenza currently has a consent decree from EPA is because they have avoided doing routine maintenance and upgrades to prevent the impact on human life, plant and water life of the territory. So don't tell me nothing about what cost it is to Hovenza. Cost of life is much more than any dollar you could put outside. And Mr. Hubert, I'm very concerned that you saying you represent the government, and the way you're talking, I think you have your representation mixed up.
Shaniqua Robinson, News 2.
Be sure to count on 2 to keep you updated on the discussion of today's follow-up hearing. Turn our attention stateside. Walmart's plans for the Washington, D.C. area are in limbo after local lawmakers passed a bill saying what the nation's largest retailer would have to pay its workers. The showdown could set the stage for other battles between big box stores in big cities and leave some struggling D.C. neighborhoods with empty store shelves and long unemployment lines. Danielle Nottingham has more from Washington.
The completion of this Walmart, the first in the nation's capital, is in jeopardy. The retail giant planned to open 6 Washington, D.C. stores, but is threatening to pull the plug because of what the city says it will have to pay workers.
You just can't do what you need to do on $7.50 or $8 an hour. It just don't make sense.
The D.C. Council recently passed a bill requiring retailers with revenue of more than $1 billion a year to pay $12.50 an hour. Only stores with workers in unions are exempt from the law.
It discriminates against some businesses and not others by setting arbitrary wage limits.
The Walmart plan for this location was supposed to anchor a larger revitalization project in a neighborhood struggling with nearly 14% unemployment. If the retailer goes, so does the promise of new jobs. Camille Campbell is a single mom and said she planned to be the first person in line filling out a job application.
$9.50, $12.50, a job is still a job. Like if you bring a Walmart into the Southeast area, like it's creating more employment for the unemployed.
Walmart has fought similar battles as it expands into urban areas, and the D.C. standoff is not over yet.
This is something that's happening in the District of Columbia, but the effects will be felt nationwide.
D.C.'s mayor could still veto the council's bill and clear the way for Walmart to stay. Danielle Nottingham, News 2.
And keeping our eye on the economy, families are expecting to spend about $635 on shoes, clothes, electronics, and other school supplies for back-to-school shopping. That's $50 less than last year. Total back-to-school spending is expected to top $26 billion. Retailers in the UK are expecting a royal baby boost. Meanwhile, experts say the birth of Prince William and Kate's son and future King of England could add hundreds of millions of dollars to the British economy. People are expected to snap up souvenirs, commemorative items, and brands favored by the new royal parents. This is the New York Stock Exchange with Scotiabank Stock Market Watch. The Dow up 22, NASDAQ and S&P down, NASDAQ 21, S&P 3. Coming up on News 2, a new study suggests breakfast really is the most important meal of the day for men. It may have big health benefits for the heart. More into your health. We'll be right back. Delegate to Congress Donna Christensen appeared on C-SPAN's Washington Journal on Tuesday morning via interview on the national morning program by Greta Bronner. Topics discussed included the Affordable Care Act and the ongoing energy crisis in the U.S. Virgin Islands.
I want to begin a meeting that you had with the president recently and the other 43 members of the Congressional Black Caucus to talk about policy issues. What was on the agenda? What did you discuss? What concerns did you bring to the president?
Well, I guess the overriding concern was addressing poverty in our country. And we've had for several years a proposal that's called 10-20-30 that was created by Jim Clyburn in conjunction with Charlie Rangel and maybe one or two other members that would target funds, 10% of any funding or programs or initiatives to communities that had 20% or more or higher poverty level for 30 or more years. And so that and other efforts to reduce poverty in our country and bring more people into the middle class was probably the overriding issue, whether it was in making sure that in the transportation programs that those set-asides for minority and disadvantaged businesses stayed, whether it was talking about education and loans for students, which was another big issue, whether it was health care. All of it really came under eliminating poverty and providing opportunities and pathways out of poverty.
Also, Congresswoman Donna Christensen hosted a health town hall over the weekend on St. Croix at the New Frederiksted Healthcare Center, highlighting how the Affordable Care Act benefits healthcare providers and healthcare programs in the territory. She also described the impact the Affordable Care Act have had and currently has on individuals in the territory. There was also a series of panel discussions followed by health question and answer, where participants asked questions primarily about access to mental health services, the expansion of Medicaid and chronic illnesses in the territory, and behavioral services. There is an innovative service disruption due to cable theft on the island of St. Croix. Copper telephone cable was stolen in the vicinity of Newark in Estate Glen. The theft has affected telephone service for a total of approximately 122 residents and businesses located within and surrounding those areas. Innovative line crews and splicers are working diligently to fully restore service. The company has reported incident to both local and federal authorities, and they're encouraging anyone with information concerning the theft to call local authorities. WAPA is currently holding important employee meetings, so if you have plans to go there, there are a few changes in the office hours. On St. Thomas, WAPA's customer service will close early at 2:30 p.m. On St. John, WAPA will close a little earlier at 1 p.m. Regular office hours resume on Thursday from 7:30 a.m. for St. Thomas and 8 a.m. for St. John. Earlier today in St. Croix, WAPA was open as usual from 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m., but with fewer staff from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. WAPA reminds customers of other payment options such as online, at local banks, or by mail. Well, into your health, a new study suggests breakfast really is the most important meal of the day for men. It may have big health benefits for the heart. Edward Lawrence reports from Los Angeles.
Stuart Miller tries to never miss breakfast, and that could be keeping his heart healthy.
Some form of yogurt, and I put in some form of granola. I add honey, it's a new superfood, and I mix it all together.
Now, a new study finds men who skip breakfast could be damaging their hearts. Harvard researchers analyzed data on more than 25,000 men ages 45 to 82 and found those who regularly miss breakfast had a 27% higher risk of heart attack or death from heart disease.
We see that men who skip breakfast tend to have other habits that are unhealthy. They're more likely to be smokers, less active.
Researchers say even with healthy men, skipping breakfast can have a negative effect on the body and may lead to obesity, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and diabetes, which are risk factors for heart disease. Heart disease is the leading cause of death for both men and women in the U.S. Although the study only looked at men, experts say the study findings should also apply to women.
What this study is showing is that it's not just what you eat, but it's how you eat.
Miller is a high school phys ed teacher and says he doesn't like how he feels when he skips breakfast.
You're just feeling not yourself. My first period of the day with my class is at 8:10. You know, if I'm doing aerobics with them or if I'm lifting weights, by the end of that first period at 10 after 9, I'm usually very hungry.
The 52-year-old hopes eating right, especially in the morning, and exercising will keep his heart fit. Edward Lawrence for CBS News, Los Angeles.
Be sure to stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is straight ahead.